is singing low. Fireflies tracing silver on the night. I was a shadow in my own glow, till your whiskey eyes found mine in candlelight. You said stay a while, let the thunder roll, and something steady settled in my soul. Pour out the dark, let the sweetheart stare. Breathe in the storm and the old smoke dare. Some love drifts upward like a prayer, but what lingers between us is the angels share. Your calloused hands read the lines I hide, brush them gentle like a summer breeze. In your quiet laugh I learned to reside, found a home beyond apologies. Let the bright lit world keep its polished shine. I'll trade it all for this hush that's ours tonight. Pour out the dark, let the sweetheart stare. Breathe in the storm and the oak smoke dare. Some love drifts upward like a prayer, but what lingers between us is the angels share. Maybe dawn brings questions we can't outrun, but every taste of your name on my tongue says the stillness inside these barrel walls will carry us when daylight calls. Pour out the dark, let the brave heart swear. Under lightning skies where the thunders air, some love drifts upward thin as air, but what stays in our hearts is the angels share. Yeah, the best of our love is the angels share. Let it rise, let it rise, let the angels take their due. What's left in this glass is me and
Good morning, everyone. How are we? You ready, Kello?
I sure am. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Future Fiction Academy.
I took off the banners because it kept hiding part of my face last night. So I was like, okay, we'll just take that off for right now. They know who we are. I'll put them on real fast and then we'll take it back off.
Nah, we're good. We're the Future Fiction Academy, everybody. This person right here that just greeted you with the crazy, what is your hair wet?
Yeah, it's wet. Listen, I showered.
Hey.
This morning, I'm like frantically getting everything ready. I'm losing a little bit of my voice. My parents are supportive. They're like cheering me on. And I'm coming upstairs and my mama goes, Elizabeth, is there anything I can do for you? And I was like, well, I don't think you can take a shower for me. And she goes, no, I can't do that. So
well, I'm glad you became a self-starter this morning and took a shower.
I mean, just in case anyone invents smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision. I have to be quite honest with everybody. I literally just got here. I woke up about a half hour ago, but I didn't get out of the bed really quick myself. That East Coast, West Coast thing is real.
It is. It
It
is.
so
It
is.
is.
So
And I
what?
love it. Go
So
ahead.
what are you doing today, Elizabeth?
So
Actually, let's be honest. I didn't watch the end of the live stream last night. I kept checking in not on YouTube, but on StreamYard. I was like, she's still on there? She's still on there? So how
I
long
was waiting for the files to upload, and I needed you to go in there. So yours is only 91%, but I'm like, that's probably good enough for the thing. So yeah,
I was there last night,
it
wasn't I?
bounced, and it didn't quite get all the files. So that's why I was in there for so long, because I went to bed because I was like, I'm tired.
I
So
tried to let my afternoon stream, I tried to let it upload completely, and I'm hooked up to Ethernet and everything. It took forever. I think
yeah,
StreamYard's having some issues.
yeah. I mean, the internet maybe just be having some issues too. So
Yeah, I got on Claude in the API yesterday during the thing, and it was just spinning, spinning, spinning. So it might just be the internet.
yeah. So everyone, thank you so much for liking the song. I confess, I don't even really like country music that much, but
Me neither.
getting that made this morning, I was like, I could see that on a movie soundtrack for this story. It was like the first version of the lyrics was like very on the nose of like, my spreadsheets are calling me in this, and I'm like, let's simmer down on the spreadsheets and focus on emotion here, ChatGPT. And then the second round of lyrics were much better, and I always ask ChatGPT like, what music type should it be, so that gives me kind of the keywords to put into Suno.
Mm-hmm.
But that whole song took me less than half an hour to make. I mean, you just doop, 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 got the image, and the image, all the prompting is in that link in your notes with the ChatGPT. And I just said, hey, I need you to make me a background image for the music video for this song, and the middle should have negative space. And the reason I need the negative space is because that's where the little video goes inside StreamYard from Suno. So
nice. Yeah, I like that.
Video.
That looks good.
Yeah. And you know what? It put me in the mood for Kentucky and writing about Taylor and Bo. I mean, that little song, it just like excited the little, high school girl in me that would have watched this kind of story on a movie, of the you know what I mean? It's a funny story. She gets stuck on the wrong bus and 60 miles out in the middle of nowhere, and yeah.
I'm super excited to see what you write today. You've been now this is officially the halfway point. You've got 3 more after this, right?
Yeah. So we're at the halfway point once this one is done.
Right. Once this one is done. What lessons do you think you've learned in this particular process, especially working with you for your first draft?
Do not fix bugs in between lives. We broke it hardcore last night. It was I lost it last night. I was like, I just need a minute to collect myself because I was so thrown off because the magic wand was broken. The cascade was all broken. But Joseph has fixed it all. And as a surprise, we actually have 3 versions of bourbon, bridesmaids and bourbon that are in the notes. I just put them in there, zip files. We have Ion, Claude, and Gemini 2.5 Pro. So
hey, the Ion thing. What's your temperature settings right now?
Oh, heck if I know, but it's got to be low.
I mean, I tried to use it on Plot Drive and
0.6.
Yeah, 0.6. I'm thinking 0.5 because it's
that's fine.
It's still a
but listen, with Ion, less is more. You cannot over prompt it. It is like Claude in that sense. I think Claude is actually more of a fine tune than, and I mean, we can even see that sometimes when Claude comes back, like somebody had an AI writing for authors.
Mm-hmm.
The Claude came back with the ChatGPT colon in it. So like everybody's been using everybody else for synthetic data and everything like that. I've always suspected Claude was something of a fine tune in some regards because just the way that it behaves, and we've always had to bring the temperature really low in order to get it to be deterministic.
Yeah, because Aeon is definitely It's not overfit.
Fine-tuned.
It's almost overfit. It is
It is very much almost overfitted, but that's how you get the
Yeah.
most amount of creativity, and that's how you get that really amazing stuff for the not safe for work
Yeah.
chapters.
And it did it.
So
It wrote some in a community class. I usually don't do those things live on YouTube when it get doing the dirty, but in community class, if y'all all want to come to a community class, which Lynn has one tonight
mhm,
at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Yeah, 4 p.m. Pacific. Right
mhm,
before Elizabeth's live stream tonight. If you go to
yep,
the live stream, I'm not saying that she's going to write any smut, but those are the kind of cool things that happen inside of our community classes. So definitely come and check it out.
yeah. So without further ado, I'd love to get started this morning. We are at 3.5 hours in terms of all the pre-work that we did. We
Mm-hmm.
edited chapter 1 last night. So
Yeah.
we had chapter 1 edited. And then while I was sleeping, Joseph made sure that everything ran. So I have everything running. I had everything run. Everything had the exact same blueprint, the exact same worksheet, and the exact same chapter 1. So we're going to be able to see a comparison across the different models. And here's the other cool thing about your first draft.
What?
This project, each one of those runs would cost 1 token for $75. So for $225, I could get my book written in 3 different versions so I can kit bash them. Because sometimes different scenes are written better by different models. And this is a personal preference of mine. We used to call this a baker as one of the job types. People who in the early days would like to run their scenes a bunch of different ways and get the ideas of a bunch of different scenes. And so then you're kind of like quilting and putting things together. You're kit bashing it together. So we actually get to do that for this editing. And I find that makes editing faster because if I'm reading something and I'm like, this is way off, I can check that same chapter written by the other 2 models and see if any one of them are closer to being done. And it speeds up my editing time. So we're going to actually see that technique.
So if you got a ghostwriter to write the
Mhm.
first draft, would that be more or less than $500?
Probably more than $500. All of these books came out between 47,000 to 65,000 words. So if you go with 50,000 words, for example, going ghost rate right, what, 2 cents a word? That would be $1,000 for a ghostwriter. And that's 2 cents a word is on the low end. Really good ghostwriter is usually between 4 and 8 cents a word.
And you got what, 3?
I got 3 of them for half the price.
So that would have been $3,000.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to put this in perspective, everybody.
Oh, believe me, the authors who have used, and there's nothing wrong with using a ghostwriter. Many authors, like that's a long history in publishing. You know how many times somebody couldn't get the book across the finish line or got sick or what have you, and someone else has to finish it up. At the end of the day, the people we answer to are the readers, and the readers are like, "Where's my book?" They don't care how it got done, but they just want it done. I mean, any fans of George R.R. Martin in the house?
Oh, don't you get stuck. Why you bring that up? What's up?
I'm
What's
just
up,
saying. I mean, would you care if you used
What-
AI if it meant that you got the book finished? If you got the series finished?
What's up, Elizabeth? Why you got to bring up? Why you gonna bring up RR? I mean,
just
we're all hurt. We're all hurting from that RR thing. Come on
I
now. It's sensitive. It's kind of like the when the Seahawks lost to the Patriots. It's sensitive. It's one of the things we do not talk about. He who shall not be named.
My point is that when you're a consumer of the media, when you're
Yeah.
a consumer of the story, all you care about is getting the story. You're not. I mean, as long as no one was harmed in the process, right? Like nobody held a gun to somebody's head.
I agree.
I just want the story. Same thing with my favorite TV shows. I don't care if you saved money on the budget by filming it in North Carolina when it's supposed to be LA.
Mhm.
You know, I just care that the movie's good, the TV show's good.
Yes, and I mean, this will be negligible 10 years from now. No one will. It's just not going to be a thing anymore. It won't have room in society to be a thing. People will be doing it all over the place. this era of AI slop that's happening on the internet and stuff like that, all of that stuff will work itself out. It will work itself out.
And I did notice, YouTube has come down with a policy about, AI content that's not good content, basically not being monetized. Have you noticed that our ad revenue has gone up since they've made that change? Because I have.
Yes, I have noticed that.
But we use AI content all the time, and that's the difference. Ours isn't.
We're real people
using
AI content as opposed to all you have to do is make a N8N thing, and it'll make a video for you, make a video, a script for you, then it'll make a video for you, and then you can just put it on the internet, and everybody will be happy. And that's
you can do that, but you need to validate. You need to. So at the bottom of the blurb on all of our books for the Feature Fiction Press, we are now adding, this story was created with author-led AI tools. Author-led AI tools.
Yep.
And that's where these other creative industries are going to have to go. They're going to have to adopt this artist-led AI tools because, it's special effects is a great example of this. I think we've been using computer-generated graphics for a very long time. One of the earliest examples I can remember as a kid, and them doing like the documentary on. Remember the Lion King and the antelope scene?
Yes.
So it was a big deal that they were able to do that scene without animators hand drawing each one of
those antelopes,
of the wildebeest or the antelopes or whatever running over. And I remembered the early days of that computer graphic and everything. And yeah, there was some outcry about. I remember when Pixar came out and they were like, "This isn't an animator because the computer did it, but it was an animator at the computer." We've been having these adjustments and these changes to artistry and to creativity for decades. It'll be okay.
Photoshop, all of the enhancements. Jurassic Park. They were about to do all of Jurassic Park with puppets. With not puppets. Claymation. Animatronics and claymation. The guy who was the famous claymation guy that worked at Industrial Light and Magic. They ended up using one claymation shot out of all of the shots in the whole movie when they were going to do the whole movie with claymation shots. And now it's commonplace. Sure. Some CGI, people like to go poo-poo CGI, but there's a lot more than you ever know in regular films that you have no clue that they've replaced the background. They've replaced a crowd in a stadium. They couldn't even do stadium movies in the way they do them now if it wasn't for CGI. So
right. Ben Richardson, who I'm working with next month, and who's one of the people who's coming on board, hopefully to start the feature fiction film studio, so that we'll be having classes for making AI film coming soon. He introduced a concept to me. I think I'm going to butcher what it's called, but I'll find out. But the idea is that you could shoot someone on a brick wall, but then you can use kind of like green screen or whatever to make that brick wall look like it's in any city or anything like that, with the white on the outside of it. So about using AI to make, because sometimes it's really expensive or disruptive to film in certain scenes. So like you want to try to film in New York, or you need to show New York 1912. Well, I can't go do that, but I can get a brick wall and then I can extend it so that it looks like, New York 1912. Yep. Without necessarily having to build really elaborate sets and things like that.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
man. Hey, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a little advertisement, but right after my
I'm gonna shut my door.
And also when I get done with this, just email me the link so that I can get my upload done. I'm not gonna stick around for the whole thing. So
you don't have to, if you just leave yourself in here muted, it's fine.
Well, the problem is it'll continue to record me.
That'll make that longer. Good point. Yeah, I'll just give you the link.
So I got to get out and then come back and get the link.
Gotcha.
Ladies,
someone called it background extension with matte paintings and 3D renders. Yeah.
And you can do that inside of Photoshop like a champ now, So the world, it is a changing, ladies and gentlemen. This whole thing Everything we do is brought to you by the Future Fiction Academy. We are here to help you use your creativity to the best of your ability with the use of some of the best AI tools out there. And we help teach, and we even have a mastermind. And the gateway to the mastermind is our accelerator, which we're still in our July accelerator. And that costs about $249 a month. It gets you your hand on Plot Drive. It gets you your hand on your first draft.ai, which gives you 1 credit to what she's about to show you right now every month that you are in the accelerator. And we have tons and tons of standalone classes, including a bunch of classes that are up right now that if you use the code your first draft,
All one word.
all one word, your first draft, you will get a discount of 50%. Not on everything, just the stuff that's come out this month, the brand new things that have come out this month. So check out all of our standalone classes and find the things that work for you. Put the code in there. If it doesn't work, I apologize that it doesn't work, but we can't give you a half off of everything. Okay. And we also have a very it's a very intensive 26-week course that is going to take your publishing business to the next level. It's called the Publishing Summit. It is run by Bad Evan, a 7-figure author. Over his lifetime, he's had 7 figures, way over $1 million. Okay.
7-figure publisher.
Yes, and that's profit, everyone. That's profit.
Yeah,
he's a profitable business.
He teaches you how to be a publisher, and that's usually the big step that the big leap that people have to make. You start off doing your first couple of books, you're an author. Learning how to be a publisher is a different skill set.
Now, here is the big deal. 1, see that $5,000 price tag? That is not for people who can't afford it. It is not for people who cannot, who are going to try and stretch this and put themselves in crazy debt just to do this. This is for actionable businesses that you want to actually build, because he's going to be making you build that business right here while he's building it. You're going to make things. He's going to make things all at the same time. You're going to get sheets. You're going to get tracking Notion pages. You're going to get tons of databases and stuff like that. And lots of in-person training on Sundays, every Sunday for 26 weeks. So the first one begins August 3rd, and the last one ends in January. So you need to jump on the summit. And if that price is too much for you, or that price is enough for you, but you can't afford exactly the big chunk right now, we have Klarna, which you can bust into a whole bunch of different payments and take care of it there. All right, Elizabeth, I'm super excited that you have made it to the 3rd live stream. And I'm also really excited that you're showing people how to use this stuff by validating it, and because she really did work on the things, because she didn't have any choice. she couldn't go into your first draft to kind of get all of this stuff done. She had to figure out a way to get all of this done outside of it, so that when she brings it in, it's going to be like. And now, have you already done the markdown guide and all that stuff?
Yes, sir. We have 3. I showed them how to do that manually last night because the cascade was broken and the magic wand was broken. So I got to emphasize that everything in your first draft originated with a manual process that we were already doing. It just is, it's a big time saver. And I'm going to talk about that. So I'm ready to show them all the files, and I've got all the notes set up. So thank you, Akello. And I need to get to work, sir.
Oh, I was just getting ready to say, and here we go. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so what I went ahead and did with your notes, I will go ahead and share my screen. Boop, 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 boop. YFDpalooza. Okay, and then the window for the StreamYard. Do you know my shoulder and my elbow were sore from yesterday from all the mousing and all that? But I do have a handshake mouse, so I do have help on that. Don't worry, I'm going to fix the view on this so that you can kind of see it better. Hopefully that's a good rate for everyone to be able to see. Okay, so if you come up to this ChatGPT right here, that link takes you right over to where we were working yesterday. I'm going to share this tab instead. And I literally am giving you exactly what I prompted for. If this book was a movie, write me the lyrics of a song that would be on the soundtrack and tell me the music style. Now, remember, this chat has all of the stuff in here. And this was actually 03 that wrote this, not 40. You can switch back and forth between 40 and 03. And it said, like, think Casey Musgraves meets Chris Stapleton. When you prompt Suno, you cannot use artist names. So that's why it's important for you to be able to say what the things are, so that it's banjo and mandolin licks over a warm electric guitar groove, tight 3-part harmonies on the chorus, and a splash of bourbon sweet pedal steel. So this is the part that you would actually put into Suno to actually get that song. And these were the original lyrics. I punched the numbers till the daylight's gone, hide my heart in a spreadsheet grid. No. I was like, nope, we're not doing that. I was like, let's be less overt about spreadsheets and stuff in the lyrics, focus on emotions. And then that's when they changed it a little bit. Again, they have Casey Musgrave with Chris Stapleton, but I did not use their names in my prompt for my song, not at all. So now we have the heat on the porch, cicadas singing low, fireflies tracing silver on the night. I was a shadow in my own glow till your whiskey eyes found mine in candlelight. Much better. That sounds much more like a song that could be, on the top 40 and all of that. So that is how I did that little thing for you this morning, which was really fun. And thank you guys so much for being kind about all of the songs. All right, let's go back to YFDpalooza. So we are in day 2. We are getting started at 10:30 a.m. I'm just noting it. I went ahead and gave you the files for this entire book, including the worksheet and the all the chapters that ran for both Ion, Claude, and Gemini. And these are all zip files. If you can't download it from Notion, you have to duplicate this page to your Notion, but make sure you duplicate it again after the last day so that you get all of the notes. So these are all of the books these are all 3 versions. Now they had the exact same outline. They had the exact same first chapter. And what we got, I made a little table here. Ion wrote the most amount of words, 61,000. Gemini Pro did 43,000 and Claude did almost 56,000. So this is why we say with your first draft, when you run one token, because this was 20 chapters, you can expect to get between 35,000 words and 60,000 words. You can see how Gemini Pro, even though it was given the exact same prompting, came in at 43,000, whereas IAM came in at 60,000. So that's why we have that range. It's not because we do anything. It's just, it depends on how the AI decides to write that scene. Some people prefer to have that shorter. They want that 35,000 words because they want to be able to put stuff into it. I am somebody, I prefer to have more words than less words because I'm better at cutting than I am at putting stuff in. All right, let me go check the chat, make sure everybody's happy with all their gifts this morning. All righty, and we forgot to do our greetings and all that. I'm so sorry. But yes, good morning, Liz and McKinley and Maria. I meant to greet you all. Good morning, Coffee Needed, and Pat C. and Harper, Alyssa. So thank you guys so much for being here this morning. And Plumstone, thank you so much for that thing of there's a theme song already. That made me so happy. You have no idea. All right, there's almost 50 of you in the room right now. You know what it's time to do. Please go ahead and like and subscribe. And then I'm going to show you how you bring these files into Plot Drive. So we're going to do some comparisons here. How many people have used your first draft to run it with run the exact same information with multiple models? And then how many people are mad at me now that I showed you that you can do this? And let's go over that cost again. Each 20 chapters is $75. All 3 versions cost $225. Way cheaper than any ghostwriter that would be. But now I do have to do all the cleanup, which you have to do cleanup with ghostwriters anyway. So I have these files downloaded to my computer, and in Plot Drive, you can actually bring these zip files right in. We literally designed your first draft to work with Plot Drive and RaptorWrite so that you can bring your files right in. So I'm going to come over here to Plot Drive, and I have this documents folder. I'm going to go ahead and click the down arrow, which is import. Oh, share this file instead. I'm sorry. So I'm in Plot Drive. I am in the project Bridesmaids in Bourbon. And I've done this before, by the way. I did this with my F1 book. So here I have a documents folder. I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder. I'm just going to call it new folder for right now. Just so that I have a divisor there, because I'm not really sure how this is going to work. I'm going to import. So I'm going to click this down arrow to import. And once I click the import button, I'm going to literally see, you'll see here, it says, we accept PDF, docx, markdown. There's that beautiful markdown, TXT, and zip files. So when I select the zip file, so I'm going to start off with Ion. We'll have that one be our first one. I just click that folder and it'll show me all the files to import. And I go ahead and click import. And you'll see, this is what I thought. It was going to put it inside that folder. And that's what I was afraid of. So I knew that this was a problem before. So let me rename this. I'm going to name this BNB Ion. And then I'm going to name this folder BNB Notes. I'm going to move this folder up to the top. And then I'm going to move the notes document and the story dossier into there, because this is stuff that was from before, and that way I'm not accidentally toggling that on. So now that I have B&B Ion, I can actually look at chapter 1 and see chapter 1 is right there. And I can see that the word count 1639. Okay, so I'm going to close that folder down. I'm going to open up a new folder. And I'm going to call this BNB Claude. And then I'm going to make sure I add a document in it. And I really wish they had fixed this, but once you make a document inside the folder, so now that that folder is inside of Claude, if I'm in this folder and I'm in this document, now when I do the import, it should just bring the Claude thing into that Claude folder. So now I'm just selecting the Claude documents.zip and uploading that and click import. Nope, it's, where did you put? It's still putting it in the top one. Okay, fine. Rename. We'll call this Claude. I knew I would get it eventually. I'm deleting that one. Okay, so we have Ion. It's better when you close it. This is going to be called B&B Gemini. Gemini. Okay. All right, I'm going to take Gemini up to the top. Now, hopefully this will work and it'll put the Gemini in Gemini. Third time's the charm, right? So I've got my top folder as B&B Gemini, and I will go ahead and import, select the file, click my Gemini folder now, and all of my files are hopefully going to go into the Gemini. Thank goodness it went into the Gemini folder. So there we go. Now, the reason for this is because these different chapters, like chapter 2 on Gemini, starts with the rehearsal dinner was winding down in a haze of decaf coffee and polite goodbyes. Well, let's look at chapter 2 in Claude. Chapter 2 in Claude says, the clatter of silver against china marked the end of the rehearsal dinner. And if I look at Ion, chapter 2, the rehearsal dinner blurred into a symphony of clinking crystal and forced laughter. So you can see what they're all writing the exact same thing, but slightly different. And this is one of the methodologies that you can do if you go ahead and run it with multiple versions, especially with like those genre neutral blueprints. Harper says, I have not run the same book in multiple models, but I had thought about it. And I just ruined it for you, didn't I, Harper? Sorry, guys. Okay. Now it's time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one more folder. New document. No, I do not want to do that. Delete. Okay, I'm going to make a new folder. Final B and B. And we're going to move this up to the top. Okay, so I have my final. So we know chapter 1 is the same for all of them. See, Taylor, Sweetheart. If I look at Claude and I do Taylor, Sweetheart, it's all the same. So all I have to do is pick one of these. I'm going to take this chapter 1 MD right here. I'm going to do the 3 dots. I'm going to duplicate it. It's okay that it has the copy there because that helps me to know that I've got the right thing. And I'm just going to put that into the final folder. So that's my chapter 1. So now I got to pick a chapter 2. But I need my notes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this Bridesmaids and Bourbon. I'm going to duplicate this one. I know it says Ion, that's okay. And I'm going to bring it up all the way to the top. So I have it up here. That way I can very quickly look at this. What is this? Oh, that's the whole, man, I forgot about that. Hold on. I was like, why is the story dossier worksheet in there? Does this say copy at the top? It does. Okay. Copy. Okay. So I'm actually going to delete this real fast. No. Yes. Maybe. Okay. Let's think about this. We're not going to move that to trash real fast. I'm going to do a final check on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new folder and we're going to call this evaluation. I'm going to bring it up to the top. So there's my evaluation. I'm going to bring this one because this is Ion. And I'm just going to rename this. Rename. I'm going to call it Ion version. Full manuscript. I forgot that your first draft gives you the full manuscript, and there's a reason for this. You're going to love this. So I'm going to throw it into evaluation. Come on, go into the folder. I want you in the folder. Thank you. Gemini is going to have one too. Then write the name right here. So I can duplicate this one. I'm going to call it the Gemini version. Bring that up. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the Claude version. So duplicate this. Duplicate. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the story dossier. So the story dossier is the same for all of them. I didn't change it. So we have the story dossier of what has to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this and bring it up into the evaluation. And I'm going to rename it. Now watch this, guys. We're going to put a new document in here. And we're going to call this evaluation. I don't know which one of these should be my core one to start off with, like the one that I check first and then go to a different one if I don't like what it wrote. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically toggle all these on. So these are the manuscripts, and then this is a story dossier. And then I'm going to pick a model that can do good analysis. We can use Gemini 2.5 Pro. We'll go up to 32,000. And the temperature is not going to be 1.2. We'll bring it down to 0.8. Not 8, 0.8. Thank you. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to literally write a prompt in here, and I'm going to say, hey, read the documents above. The story dossier is the assignment of what the book should have been. I want you to do a comparative analysis on the 3 versions of the manuscript that I have. Ion, Claude, and Gemini. I need to know for each version if they wrote the sex scenes in a way readers of best-selling romance would want. Did they follow the outline? And if there are any major problems that need to be edited. Also, please list the strengths of each manuscript version. Now, I can do this because it has a context window of like 1 million tokens. So each one of these I know is only about 50,000 words. So it should be able to handle it no problem. And I'm going to go ahead and click go. And then I'll check the chat. Susan says, this is not going to help those of us who obsess. I'm sorry. Too many things to play with. I like this paragraph from here, this one from here. Exactly. But before I even get started, I'm asking the AI what it thinks of these manuscripts. Now, I may not agree with its analysis, but at least it's giving me a starting point. Ryan, I love it. Shaking and baking it. Absolutely. Harper says, I did run a book 1 in one model, and I'm working on book 2 in the same series with the same base blueprint in a second model to see which writing I preferred. Haven't run it yet. Still working on it. And Mel says, ooh, joining late, but I love where this is going. This doesn't have to be your process. If some people are overwhelmed by, as your collaborative ghostwriter, I've thoroughly reviewed the story dossier and the 3 manuscript versions. This is a fantastic concept with great commercial potential, and each AI has brought something unique to the table. Oh, you guys. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. If you don't like having so much material, but here I'm playing editorial, I'm playing an editorial role. And I mean like editorial, like publishing editorial. I have 3 candidates who have written this book. I need to know which one's the strongest one. Now I can read all 3 of them, of course, and I can rule that, and I will, but I'm asking the AI so I can get an idea of where we're at. So let's see what it says. Executive summary. And by the way, AI should be okay at this kind of task nowadays because this is a nonfiction business type task. You know, I have these things, I need you to evaluate them. They train to make sure that these things are good evaluators, because the real commercial value of these AI models is for them to replace people in business, to replace labor there. So here we go. All 3 AI versions successfully produced a complete manuscript that follows the core plot and character arcs outlined in the dossier. However, they differ significantly in voice, prose style, and execution of key moments. Ion is the most faithful and structurally sound version, a beautiful blueprint of the story. It's a complete solid draft, but lacks some of the literary flair and character depth of the others. Claude offers the most descriptive and emotionally introspective prose, but it deviates significantly from the requested pacing and structure, resulting in a much slower, more contemplative story. Gemini is the strongest contender for a best-selling romance. Oh, really, Google? Really? Really? Or maybe we should rerun this report with OpenAI so that it's neutral. It nails Taylor's voice, balances humor and heat perfectly, and delivers a manuscript that feels the most polished and commercially viable right out of the box. Okay, This version is a workhorse. It took the dossier and executed it with meticulous, almost flawless precision. It reads like a perfect first draft where all the story components are in the right place. Sex scenes meets expectations. The 3 explicit scenes in chapters 8, 13, and 20 are present and accounted for. They are open door as requested with clear physical descriptions. The writing hits the necessary beats, but can occasionally feel a bit generic, using standard romance language. Molten heat, primal hunger. While effective and spicy, they lack a truly unique or emotionally devastating quality. They will satisfy readers, but might not be the scenes that highlight in a 5-star review. Okay. Outline adherence, excellent. This is Ion's greatest strength. It follows the chapter by chapter outline almost to the letter. Every key beat from the inciting incident to the climax happens exactly where the dossier specified. The character introductions and their functions are perfectly aligned with the plan. If you need a version that absolutely guarantees the plot structure is sound, this is it. Major problems. Epilogue timeline. The dossier specifies an epilogue 3 months later, but the manuscript places it 6 months later. This is a simple, that's a simple one. I want it 6 months later because otherwise it doesn't make sense, but that's fine. While the writing is clear and competent, it sometimes lacks the lyrical in the writing style section. Show, don't tell. At times, the narrative relies on telling the reader Taylor's feelings rather than showing them through action or visceral internal thought. For example, her rage is often described rather than felt through her actions. So rock solid. It's a finished book to HEA. It requires the least amount of structural work. Clear emotional arc. Taylor's journey from invisible numbers girl to a woman who seizes her own happiness is clear, logical, and emotionally satisfying. Claude. This version reads like a more literary, character-driven novel that happens to be a romance. Ooh, that's not good. It prioritizes deep internal monologues and lush description over plot velocity. They're potentially excellent, but pacing is an issue. The writing style suggests Claude would excel at the sex scenes, but the prose is sensory, introspective, and emotionally rich. However, the overall pacing is so deliberate that the build-up to these scenes is likely much slower than the other versions. Of taking them for a wicked fun ride. So look, it's actually pulling the information from the dossier that I had. Core. Chapter 1 was the same. Chapter 2, it breaks the single chapter into multiple more detailed scenes, slowing the plot engines down considerably before the inciting incident. This pattern of expanding moments and adding scenes continues throughout, turning a tight, weekend-long story into something that feels much longer and more meandering. The manuscript is slow. The tone is more contemplative and less comedic. By adding so much descriptive detail and internal thought, the core plot points lose some of their impact. Okay. Gemini. This is the all-star. Of course you're going to say Gemini is the best. Gemini nails the tone for best-selling romance sex scenes. They are hot, emotionally connected, and infused with Taylor's distinct voice. The banter leading into them feels natural, and the scenes themselves balance explicit physical detail with Taylor's internal emotional reactions. They are both arousing and character developing, which is the gold standard for the genre. Outline adherence, very good, but they weren't afraid to add small moments of character. That's kind of what I want, personally. Is a roadmap not a cage? There's a couple of minor inconsistencies. The biggest challenge would be ensuring this incredibly strong voice is maintained. Midwestern dry sarcasm meets bourbon-fueled backbone. The banter's top-notch. This one feels the more. It has that addictive just one more chapter quality. While all of them have their merits, Gemini is the strongest and most viable starting point for publication. It requires the least amount of developmental and structural work. Okay, and so I'm going to thumbs this up. Don't worry, I'm going to give you the prompt in your notes, and then I'll go check the chat. Prompt and the report. All right, I'll also copy the report that it did as your collaborative ghostwriter. Now, these may not be accurate. I have concerns about the fact that it talked about I have concerns that it talked about the Claude one as it might be these things. But also what it says about Claude, I believe it, because that is my findings on Claude as well. Harper says, overall, that's been my experience with Claude with most books. Antonio says, I hate doing these comparisons or additions, so I always stick to one version, and I write obsessively guiding the AI to make it follow my elaborate prompt. You have opened to me a whole new window. Danny says, I exclusively use Claude as I know how to prompt it. That's the beautiful thing about your first draft. We test these things with all the different models so that we make sure that the prompting works on those models. So that's one of the things that your first draft does offer you. You do not have to become a master of prompting these other models if you just need to get your work done. You just need to get the book written. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to trust the AI until it proves otherwise. We'll start off with Gemini. Now, let's talk a little bit about this editing. The editing rules, the rules of the editing. F it, it's fine. Good enough is good enough. Okay, so I'm going to start with Gemini and I'm going to read it. The goal here is for me to only need to do 5 to 10 minutes of editing to each chapter. If a chapter is so off kilter, that is when I will go look at the other versions to see if there's a better version of that chapter. Like if I'm reading it and I'm like, this is a lot of work. Let me go see if one of them's done a little bit of a better job of this. The goal of this is not to find the best chapter out of the 3 versions. That way lies madness. I'll say that again. The goal of this is not to find the best chapter of all 3 versions. The goal of this exercise is to impress myself with the writing. Like, well, I'm not impressing myself. The AI has to impress me as the reader. Okay. I have to read it and I have to enjoy it. We might disagree, you and I, as you're watching me do this process. You might be like, Elizabeth, you're nuts. That was really bad dialogue. I hate that. That's okay. This isn't a perfect process. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to read out loud as much as I can. I may get to the point where I'm just skimming things and saying like, that's okay, because this is not the final edit. There is another read through once I have everything all together. But the goal of this is to try to get this draft to 95% ready for an actual close line edit. Does that make sense to everybody? Is everybody agreeing to the rules of the road or rules of the game? Okay. Yeah. As Plum Jack says, art is subjective. Here we go. And if I screw up, somebody who has my phone number, please ping me or message me on Discord and it'll pop up. Okay. All right, I'm going to be down here. Are the fonts big enough for everybody? I'll move to Plot Drive and share this tab instead. And then I'll look at it and see if I can make it bigger. Oh, it's kind of small. Let's do that one. Let's see how that looks on the video. I think that one's a little bit better. We can go one more. Perfect. Okay. So Gemini is where we start. So we're going to start off with chapter 1 just because everybody got to read chapter 1 last night, but let's go ahead and just read through it again. Taylor, sweetheart, the florist is on line 2. Is on line 2 absolutely hysterical? Something about line 2 doesn't make sense. Is absolutely hysterical. Something about peonies and a delivery truck fire. I cannot deal with this right now. My stepmother, Catherine Sutton, materialized in a whirlwind of ivory silk and stressed out pheromones, shoving a cordless phone at me as if it were radioactive. I don't think it would be a cordless phone. It would be a cell phone. I took it without a word, my thumb already scrolling through the vendor spreadsheet on my iPad. We substituted garden roses weeks ago. Invoice VB7821. The fire story smells like an invoice padding attempt. Instead of the fire story, a delivery truck fire, I'm like, this, I'm going to say this smells like a. Actually, we'll just say it smells like. I pressed the phone to my ear. Renata, Taylor Ramsey. Let's cut the drama. Your revised invoice for the quicksand roses is already approved and paid. Unless your truck spontaneously combusted after delivering perfect blooms to the ballroom at 10 a.m. this morning, we're done here. Okay, so I wonder if this is a timeline issue. If it's Thursday and they're getting the flowers delivered for the wedding on Sunday, you'd have to like refrigerate them. You usually don't deliver flowers that early. What else could be delivered ahead of time? You know what? It's a minor detail. I will fix that later. So I'm going to add this to myself for notes that I can't think of in the moment because the goal is to try to get through it So I'm going to go new document. Since I'd have to noodle on that, I'll just make a list of things I have to noodle on. Chapter 1. And I kind of like that idea. I already have a thought there. Make it clear it's a flower delivery of many. So I'm just going to put that aside for right now. All right, we're back here. Oh, I should probably make changes here. This one. Which, oh dear, Rusev. This is why version control matters, people. Okay, so I already made some changes to this. So I'm just copying the part that I was changing in, and I'm going to fix it here. I cut 6 words, I know. Sun-baked humidity. We don't need sun-baked. It's just humidity. Turning the view of rolling greens, white horse fences, and the distant bourbon barrel barn into a living watercolor. Chandeliers glittered overhead, reflecting off mirrored sideboards stacked with monogrammed gift bags and rows of champagne flutes sweating in the heat. Somewhere beyond the closed double doors, a string quartet tuned up. Uh-oh. Thought so. Thought so. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. This wedding. Extravaganza. Wasn't until Sunday. 3 more days of the madness. How do you remember invoice numbers? She breathed, looking frankly bewildered and not for the first time. I shrugged, practiced non-committal gesture, honed over years of being the practical ghost haunting the Sutton family. Oh, I used extravaganza. Ugh, see, even I have crutch words. Events. It's my job. I'm going to take this off. It's a little bit too heavy-handed. Because I already said she's the practical ghost haunting the Sutton family events. It's my job. Well, thank God for you, darling. One might show a particularly useful Roomba. You're an angel, truly. Now, where is Emily? Rehearsal starts in 40 minutes. Why would they be rehearsing on Thursday for a Sunday? We'll leave it. Think about if Thursday is the rehearsal dinner. Okay. I already read that last night. I wanted the sisters to be, Mom, Taylor, you will not believe the cake tasting. She grabbed my arm, eyes shining. Matt wants Chef Dubois to add a river of bourbon caramel to the groom's cake. Imagine it oozing down the tears like a delicious mudslide across his tux. Give the man credit, I said. He's aiming for dessert and dry cleaning in one convenient package. You're impossible, but it was so sweet. His face lit up. Speaking of sweet, we should hit a few of the craft distilleries nearby during the honeymoon. I don't think speaking of sweet. Oh. He will just love. I'm going to take that out. It looks like she's thinking about it. Ambitious. First challenge will be prying you two out of the honeymoon suite. Rude. Yeah. Emily, darling, your curls are collapsing. Yeah, this feels good. And then Brianna Lowell swept in like she owned the oxygen, head to toe, blush pink, Lululemon, that somehow skirted the resort's dress code. Perfect. Off the charts, babe. I just want to make sure. Is there a beta chi? No. Part of their name, but not by itself. Okay. So yeah, we'll leave that there. There, icon status. Bree, this is gorgeous. I couldn't find your name on the group spreadsheet. The tilt of her head was a knife. I got something arranged for tonight. Thought I'd leave a little room in the spotlight for the rest of Beta Chi. She doesn't have something for tonight. It's Brianna who planned it. So I'm going to take that out. Well, we can't all be CFO of the fun committee. Good thing your real mates have you covered. Oh, I forgot. Dad needs you downstairs. The sommelier is pushing a Bordeaux that's questionable for the budget. On it. Okay, so then we do this. Fix his. He saw me and shifted to his fix this space. Taylor, good. Philippe insists the chateau, etc., but the price is generous. Okay, Mademoiselle Ramsey is correct. Now champagne. Dismissed, I stepped back, the old pinch behind my ribs flaring. Numbers girl strikes again. That's fine, because it was earlier. I took out some of the earlier references. Dark wood, cigars no one was allowed to light, money's idea of rustic. Shelby perched on a stool giggling with Diego Santoro, the groomsman whose LinkedIn profile probably still bragged about intramural soccer. Shelby? It's not going to be rehearsal. It's going to be photos. Photos in 15. There was a goat, apparently. Taylor Ramsey, right? The one keeping the wheels on this party bus? Brakes, mostly. Speaking of Shelby, water time. Buzzkill. See you at the choreography. Okay. All right, I'm happy with that. Let's go to Gemini and look at chapter 2. The rehearsal dinner was winding down in a haze of decaf coffee and polite goodbyes. It shouldn't be goodbyes, it should be good nights. Because they're all staying at the resort. Waiters moved like ghosts, clearing the remains of bourbon caramel oozing cake. I was on my third scan of the final catering check when a delicate clink, clink, clink of a spoon against a water glass cut through the murmur. Brianna Lowell stood near the head table, a smug, triumphant smile plastered on her face. She swapped her Lululemon for a silk slip dress the color of a setting sun, and she held her glass aloft like a scepter. If I could have everyone's attention, she called, her voice resonating with the false cheer of a flight attendant announcing turbulence. I know we're all getting tired, but the night is young, and our beautiful bride deserves a proper send-off before the big day. This was not on the schedule. This wasn't in my spreadsheet. As a little surprise, I chartered a shuttle to take the bridal party downtown for a little bourbon and bonding, and I brought party flavors. A massive tote bag at her feet, the one I'd seen earlier, the one that probably had its own zip code. She produced a stack of neatly folded t-shirts. She unfurled the top one. In glittery looping script across a baby pink background, it read, Bride Squad. A collective squeal went up among the other bridesmaids. My soul shivered. My soul shriveled. It was a sorority mixer nightmare come to life. Absolutely not. Oh, please come, Taylor. It'll be fun, just for a little while. 2 bars, tops, I promise. My sweet, naive stepsister, so caught up in the bubble of her own happiness, she couldn't see the passive-aggressive power play unfolding right in front of her. Brianna was hijacking the evening, positioning herself as the true maid of honor, the purveyor of spontaneous fun, while I was left holding the receipts. Fine. 2 bars. Then I'm calling a car. You're the best. A white monstrosity with tinted windows and cheap LED strip lights pulsing purple and blue inside. Had been threatening all day. Lindsay, you and Megan in the back. Shelby, you sit here next to me. Taylor, why don't you sit there? Keep Diego company. Yep, this is like perfect. I am here for this. Tucking it into my conch. No team spirit, Ramsey. My spirit is more of a quiet, behind-the-scenes type. 12% battery. Shit, I forgot to charge it in the suite. I made a mental note to find an outlet at the first bar. Shuttle lurched into motion, and Brianna cranked the playlist of 2010's pop hits from a Bluetooth speaker. Canned cocktails were passed around. I declined. Brianna started an Instagram live, panning the phone around the bus, her commentary stream of sorority sister insider jokes. Camera lingered on Emily, on Shelby, on Lindsay. It skipped right over me and Diego as if we were part of the upholstery. I don't mind being invisible, but I hated that she was the one making me so. The Copper Horseshoe. It was all dark wood, polished brass, and bartenders in leather aprons. It was trying so hard to be an authentic Kentucky bourbon bar, but it felt like the Epcot Pavilion. Okay, I'm really enjoying this. Let's go take a look at the note at the chat, and everybody. Yeah, something to bring ahead of time. The rings, exactly. So good things in the chat. What are we thinking of Gemini? Like, I'm not really seeing a whole lot I have to fix with Gemini. So yeah, I'll end up making that one of many. I want to see what we'll finish reading chapter 2, and I am going to look at the chapter 2 of the other ones just to see if for me personally it was at which one I like better. To Emily and Matt, I let the amber liquid slide down my throat. It was decent stuff, a weeded bourbon, probably a 90 proofer. You look like you know what you're doing with that, the bartender, a guy with kind eyes and a sleeve of intricate floral tattoos, commented as he collected the glasses. I've read a few review blogs, I admitted. It's a good pour. We get it from a small family distillery out near Carter Creek. Good people. A connection to something real. No. Okay, ladies, selfie time. Only met with a frustrating notification. This accessory may not be supported. A cheap frayed cord I borrowed from Shelby. Useless. I shoved it back in my purse. The 11% on my screen mocking me. Another round of drinks later, Brianna herded us back outside in the sticky night air. Next up, Rick House and Roses. They have a live band. The Polar Op. It was loud, crowded, and the floor was faintly sticky. Surprisingly good bluegrass band was tearing through a Johnny Cash cover on a small stage, and the dance floor was a writhing mass of bodies. Oh my God, I love this song. Let's dance. I can't. Just give it to me. She held open her tote bag, a cavernous floral monstrosity that looked like it could hold a small farm animal. Everything goes in the party purse. It seemed like a good idea. No worries. I think she should keep her phone. I hesitated for a second, then dropped my wallet, my useless charger. They disappeared. I was keeping my phone. It was almost. In my pocket. I have the move where I tell you to back off before I use my stiletto to permanently regender you. Feisty. I like it. And get out of here before my phone died. Maybe her watch? Mm-hmm. Okay, so she did get her phone back. So I just have to fix that. Okay. My watch vibrated. I had to get my phone. Okay, so then I just have to fix this back to where it was. I hesitated for a second, then dropped my wallet. And phone. It disappeared into the floral abyss, and I'll just take that out. I felt a little lighter. Okay, there we go. So she's getting drunk, and okay, I like this better because she has her watch, her Apple Watch, basically. I need my phone for 1 second. Sure, babe. Aw, fine missed. Approved. Send final manifest by 8 a.m. I hit send. Message sent. Then a final heartbreaking warning. 5% battery remaining. Okay. That's weird. I don't think I think I'm going to say the I think it's just going to be the too tired to read. LED display above the driver's head. We'll be back. In half an hour. I could get my wallet from Shelby then. Okay, so I do like this chapter too, so I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this and move it here. I'm going to go read the Claude chapter 2. So demonstrating, I mean, that really didn't take but about 10 minutes to edit all of that. Yeah. Yep. Oh, yay, Delilah. You feel like you're at the party with them. Exactly. Really like this chapter so far. So let's see what Claude wrote, okay? Mentally calculating final gratuities while scanning for any forgotten designer purses. Bluegrass's estate's Magnolia Terrace glowed under string lights, the late June humidity pressing against exposed shoulders like an unwelcome dance partner. Again, we already had that humidity before. Since freshman orientation, I planned a little surprise to kick off this wedding weekend properly. Surprise? Nothing in the itinerary mentions surprises. See, okay, I do like that line. Bourbon assessed veterinarian. I've arranged a bourbon and blush pub crawl through Louisville's finest establishments. Squealed. But wait, no pub crawl is complete without proper attire. Bride squad, Emily's last ride. Oh, that's funny. From my sorority sister's boutique. Even one for you, Taylor, though I had to guess your size. Oh my God. Okay, that's great. That's vicious. I like that one. Surprise pub call, not on the schedule. On it. super fun. Just let me settle. No way. You're changing now. You're with us. Tipsy thoroughbred. Chef needs. Promises? Promise. Then you need another drink. Well, pattern this. Okay. House rules. Since when? Since forever. Cross my heart. Okay. Bass and beats, low battery. I found myself laughing at Diego's terrible horse jokes and actually enjoying the ridiculous t-shirt. There, no more buzzkill. The Florida bar. You're doing math at a bar. Where's Shelby? So this one, she just keeps her phone the whole time. Why 2 shuttles? One's for the groomsmen. They were at Barrel and Bow down the street. Matt texted. Which bus? This one, babe. You look like you need the seat closest to the driver. I'm fine. Of course you are. Just looking out for our numbers, girl. Never doubted it. Night, night, Tay. Wait. Ah. Okay, this one's better. Okay, so I'm actually going to use this one. I know I scanned it, but I like it better. So I'm going to duplicate it. And it still aligns. It's fine. And I'm going to put it up here with the actual one and delete that one. Okay, so I now have an Ion Cop book chapter and a Claude chapter. And just to help me, because sometimes I want to remember which one is which, I will just go ahead and mark it. So we'll just call this Claude. Wait, I'm not in the right one. Okay, so this one I need to change. So instead of copy, I'll change it to what model it was. And this one is Ion. So it was originally Ion that wrote. Okay, let's look at chapter 3. I'm going to start with Claude. I kind of want to look at Ion's chapter 2, though, really fast. Let's look at chapter 2 for Ion. Radiance and horse sense. Okay, I can see where this is not as... it's not as good writing. Okay, party people. Bree. Surprise! Sutton Caldwell Bride's Call. Getting lit before she gets hitched. So again, it's still great. Brianna, you didn't. Oh, I did. 3 stops. Craft cocktails, dancing memories we won't quite remember perfectly. Bride gets the crown, obviously. Okay. I don't like the... I still like Claude the best out of these 3. I know, throw something at me. As much as I hate Claude. Your turn, getting lit. I could have used any one of these 3. I mean, really, all 3 of these are pretty okay. Shuttle protocol. It's a loop. Cooper still Stavern Terse, then the Rick House finishing at Barrel Proof Saloon. Shuttle departs each location precisely 45 minutes after drop-off. Miss it, and you're paying for your own Uber back to this palace of privilege. And gentlemen, peachy. Something fruity with an umbrella. Ecosystem. Tay. Okay. So I want to see how she got, and this one kind of like, it looks like it, need a partner, Ramsey. I've got my moves. And I think this one stuck with chapter 3. Okay, now this is interesting. I need to go check the outline because it told me Claude did not follow the outline. So let's look at the story dossier and let's see what the chapter was supposed to be. Because I have a feeling chapter 1, bluegrass, chapter 2, she's not supposed to get on the wrong bus until chapter 3. So we'll see what happens about this. This is the first deviation. Ion followed that exactly. Both Gemini and Claude did not. Both Gemini and Claude had her get on the wrong bus in chapter 2, not chapter 3. That might be okay. We'll see how it plays out. Let me check the chat. Yeah. The smile didn't quite reach her eyes. I will look for those in the line edit. This one's just the developmental edit of where I'm getting it all pieces together, and then I'll do a closer read through with like autocrit for all the crutch words and all of that. So right now I'm just making sure that it reads well and it's ready for a line edit. Okay, so chapter 3. Let's see what Gemini did for chapter 3. Okay, so this is interesting. Gemini screwed up. So the end of chapter 2 on Gemini, she's on the bus. And then chapter 3, we're redoing that again. That's a problem. And that's what can kind of happen because, okay. So let me take a look at chapter 3. Sorry, ma'am, my hands are tied. We'll be at Carter Creek in about an hour. You can sort it out there. So let's go over to Claude and see what chapter 3 is for that one. Wrong bus, where are you? An hour east. Okay. USB ports. iPhones or abusers are basically the enemy. Of course they are. Okay. Taking an Uber. Hey, Bright Squad. Collective wisdom. She's not getting married tomorrow. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of good writing here, a lot of good stuff here. Let me go back to what I actually decided to take. So I took in Claude. So this is the problem. I liked chapter 2. Emily. You don't need it tonight. Okay, so I gotta figure out how to this. Okay, there's another way to do this, and I do this methodology all the time. I have some problems with chapter 2 and chapter 3. Ion followed it the best, but I don't like the writing of it as much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Notion to help me kit bash. We really need a kit bash tool, and eventually we'll have one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy chapter 2 Gemini, copy chapter 2 Claude, and chapter 2 Ion. Okay, and then I'm going to come over, share this tab instead. I have to be able to see it across columns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go columns, and I want 4 columns because I have 3 versions, but I need the final one. So I'm going to go 4 columns, and I'm going to call it Claude, Gemini, Ion, final. And then I'm going to go ahead and paste those in. So the first one, I don't remember which one was which now. Okay, Claude started off with the Clatter of Silver, chapter 2. Okay, that's what I thought it did. So Claude started off with this one, chapter 2. And then Gemini started off with the rehearsal dinner was winding down. Oopsies. And then that means that this one is Ion that I have last on my. Okay. I'm falling into the trap of I'm trying to pick the best one. This is why I say it's a trap. Without proper attire. So I liked this one because it was like I thought of your size. So I'm gonna grab this one for the one where no way, but the vendor, Taylor. Okay, so I need from here, and I use color coding to help me know which one I grabbed. So this was green. I used green for yes, I used it. Bring it over to the final. Okay. I don't think there was anything else that was in there that I needed from the other ones. Okay, party people. Okay, so that way I can come down to these where they are. Tipsy Thoroughbred. small batch. I liked all of that. Then you need another drink. Okay. I think here. Florida bar. Okay. I think I can fix it like that. I think. Because I do actually like Claude handling the okay. So we just have to figure out where to cut it off that we can pick it up with where she's falling out of the Florida bar. So I squinted at my watch. There we go. The humid air. So right here is where it cuts off. So this part all comes off because it's in chapter 3. So that's good. So now chapter 3 of Claude will actually go, like, it should match it perfectly. Duplicate it. Okay. And then bring it up to here. And this is why this is my copyright, because I just lopped off all of half of chapter 2 of what it wrote. This is also Claude. So now she's out of there. And then it's form a line, brides to the left, groomsmen to the right. I'm fine. Where's my sister? Wait, up you go. This isn't. No stop. So did it go? Where did it take off? But the door hissed shut. If the bus hasn't started moving yet, it should have pulled away. Okay, so I'm just going to put it here. Milled on the sidewalk. Special event service. No, that's not right. I need to be on the Bluegrass Estates shuttle. Sorry, ma'am. This is the Carter Creek run. About an hour east. An hour east? No radio, ma'am. Company policy is no stops once we're en route. My wallet, ID, and charger swung from her arm. They thought I was already on board their shuttle. Where are you? Okay. I like that. Looking for this? Of course they are. Oh, 4%. Brianna said you were feeling sick and grabbed an Uber. Text me you're back at the resort. This was sabotage. Never have I ever. Oh, wedding drama? Married Sunday. That's some cold-blooded bridesmaid warfare. What's this bitch's name? Brianna. Classic Brianna move. You need to call someone like right now. That's the problem. Oh, wait, it's in my check bag under the bus. Mom's freaking out. Call me. Tone dying. Not my choice. Call resort. I hit send just as a master thunderclap shook the shuttle. My message hung in digital limbo. Folks, we're hitting some weather. Gonna reduce speed for safety. Might add 15 minutes to our arrival time. 15 more minutes. This is good because she's stuck. Not are you safe, but fix this problem. 45 miles. I had one chance left. Us at Christmas. Dead. My last connection. And even if they did, there was no way to reach me now. Okay. Fun sister. No way to contact. Search parties look everywhere except where I actually was. Calculated. Right into it. Hey, Bride Squad, you look like you're plotting a murder. Conan Myers, heading to Carter Creek for my buddy's bachelor weekend. Taylor Ramsey, heading to Carter Creek because a sociopath in Lululemon bodysuit hijacked my life. Rough. Need a drink? I've got bourbon. But bourbon had gotten me into this mess. Thanks, but I need to stay sharp. In this storm? Good luck with that, Taylor Ramsey. Can't have washed out back roads. Good luck with that, Taylor Ramsey. What would they do to the rural routes? Elkhorn Creek. What does that mean? Are we going to be stuck? It means we'll get you there safe. What happens after that is between you and Mother Nature. Really outdoing itself tonight. Meet us at the entrance. I suggest you gather your belongings and prepare for a damp arrival. I had nothing to gather. Just a dead phone and a t-shirt proclaiming my allegiance to a bridal party that's probably filing a missing persons report right now. Bridal party that was sleeping it off. There we go. We'd had our differences of the years. And the free-spirited baby of the family. I don't know about this. I don't think. Depending on how Brianna spun it, She might after tonight. There we go. The shuttle slowed, tires splashing through standing water as we turned off the highway. 1875. We crawled down a tree-lined drive, branches whipping in the wind, occasionally scraping against the shuttles. Okay, so here's part of the problem. This chapter here, chapter 2, is only 1,300 words. This chapter here is 2,800. That's like really out of balance. So I'm going to go with the human hit me like a thing. This isn't. There's a part where it kind of seems like it go where it. Right here. There we go. So I'm going to append that to the end of chapter 2 because it makes more sense. So it ends on a, like, she's right here. The message hung, refusing to send as my battery dropped 5%. I jabbed at the screen trying to force it through. The shuttle accelerated, merging into late night traffic. I would want to keep reading at that point. And then that way the next chapter is now shorter. And it says, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the Carter Creek Bourbon Resort Express shuttle. So that's a perfect moment that makes people want to be like, okay, I've got to keep reading. All right, so that's 3 chapters. I'm going to go check the chat. Yep. Oh my gosh. You guys, I am so sorry. Nobody. I am so sorry, you guys. I did all those edits. Okay. So, yeah. Here's what happened. I was going to kit bash in Notion, but then I kind of realized like it's good enough with Claude just to make it work because I want to keep going. So what I did is I took the original Claude chapters. I know you couldn't see it, and I apologize for that. The original Claude chapter 2 stopped. It kind of like overlapped. So I cut off the bottom part of chapter 2, and then I replaced it with the front part of chapter 3 from Claude. And I made a few tweaks here and there, but nothing super major. So now chapter 2 ends with the shuttle accelerated, merging onto late night traffic. And then chapter 3 is all about the bus. You have these files so you can take a look at them. This one is now going to end with them getting Conan Myers, talk to her, heading to Carter Creek for my buddy's bachelor weekend. Taylor Ramsey, sociopath in a Lululemon bodysuit, hijacked my life. Rough. Need a drink? I've got bourbon. I don't know how much I read out loud and how much I just established 1875. We went through this, the tree line drive. Cool. Originally, this chapter was like 2,800 words. That was out of balance because when I cut off the bottom of chapter 2 that didn't align with chapter 3. And this is a problem with my outline, by the way. Like, my outline didn't really make it clear where that scene ended and the other one. Like, even when we were working last night, I was like, I think these chapters could be put together. So now where we stand, it is 11:43. So it's been 1 hour that I had been working on this. And we have, I'm getting out the calculator, 1624 plus 1971 plus 2172. So in 1 hour, I have edited 5,767 words. So I'm going to put that here. I'm going to delete all this because I ended up not needing that. Oh, no. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So 11:44 a.m. Chapters 1 through 3 are rough edited, which gets her to Carter Creek. And it is 5,767 words. Final draft. I will still need to line edit. Okay, so let's move on. Oh, share this tab instead. I deleted out the columns because I ended up not kit bashing that way. I decided to not fall down the game of like trying to find the best chapter, and instead, and this is the thing, I was happy with Gemini until I read Claude. This is what the sucker's play is. When you read the other chapters, you should only read them if you're unhappy with the chapter. But you know, it is what it is. Okay, so we're back to plot drive. Share this tab instead. I have my finals here. I've marked what is Ion and Claude. And now we need chapter 4. So we'll look at Gemini. They should have arrived. This is not going to work because this is going to overlap what I already did. And I think this is a problem because my story dossier, this is where I screwed up. Chapter okay. So chapter 4, she's on the bus. Whereas I just did chapter 3 where she got to the place. When she's supposed to get on the wrong bus for that one. And then chapter 5, it pulls in. Okay, so my chapter 3 ended with them, I think, arriving, but I could trim that. Welcome to Carter Creek. Miss, end of the line. Not in this weather. Okay. So I can't use this. Having a worse night than I am. Last fling before the ring. I think. It's the right bus. Are you heading to the resort for the festival? The festival? That's not till later, so that's all wrong. End of the line. So that can't be chapter 4. We should be going to chapter 5. Let's see what Claude wrote for chapter 4, because Claude's chapter 3. Yeah, this all just repeats. And this does happen sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to skip to chapter 5, and chapter 5 is going to become the new chapter 4. The rain hit me. Ma'am. Bride or casualty? Maid of honor, and definitely casualty. Long story, always is. Let's get you dried off first. Stories later. Net clerk, I'm filling in. So you really do own the place. 4th generation. I feel like this is too fast. I want more before they're all together. I want it to be more of an awkward thing. Gus is my foreman. Just confirmed 3 more cabins took on water tonight. But there are like 12 of us. 13? Folks, there's nowhere else within 30 miles. We'll make this work. Wouldn't feel right. Small shuttle. Okay, so Claude's okay. It's not my favorite. We're going to skip chapter 4 and go to chapter 5. Let's see what Gemini wrote. It wasn't rain. It was a solid. Okay, that's a better. I like that better. Mabel's blanket clutched around my shoulders. End of the line, folks. My Todds are ruined. Run! I kicked off my stilettos, the ridiculously expensive symbols of a life I no longer seem to inhabit, and left them to drown in the puddle. She doesn't have a purse. It should be a useless phone. Okay, this is more the pacing that I like. He was solid. That was the first word that came to mind. Bus make it okay? The driver was a saint, but I think we brought half the creek in with us. Floors have seen worse. Let's get you all checked in. Name's Bro Carter. I own the place. Of course he did. He looked like he'd grown from the very foundations of the building. Tina Wilcox, bachelorette party my maid of honor, who is so fired, booked us a suite. Yep, got you right here. This is what I wanted. Just a single. The guy said you'd have a room. Things are a little tight, Mr. Myers. Most of our cabins are under renovation. I can put you in the last room in the lodge. Queen bed, no view. We're golden. For one of the cottages. Glad you made it before the bridge went. The bridge? Yes, this is more. Bridge over Carter Creek's flooded out. Only way in and out. It'll be closed until the water goes down. Tomorrow afternoon, maybe. Tomorrow afternoon. The something else. The out of town. Was it by cocktail event? Was it 5 p.m.? I got one last cabin open. The Angel Share cabin. It's small, but it's dry. It's yours if you want it. Oh, you're a dear, Bo. That sounds perfect. And then there were two. Me and Bo Carter. And you? Taylor Ramsey. I don't have a reservation for Ramsey. I know. There was a mix-up with the shuttles. I don't have a room, and I don't have my wallet. Humiliating. Yes. It was a surprise, and I'm the maid of honor. I'm not just some drunk girl who got on the wrong. Negative. Swimming pool in there. Renovation is cursed. All right. Come on. Come on, where? My place. I've got a spare room. He was offering a complete stranger, a woman with no ID and no money, a room in his house. This is how true crime pod started. But what was my alternative? A cold, damp armchair? Arguing? I can't ask you to do that. You're not asking. I'm offering. I'm on duty. Means you're my problem. And I'm not leaving a stray bridesmaid to sleep in my lobby. So are you coming or not? Okay, good. She was a woman in her 60s. Well, now who's this? Aunt Ruth, this is Taylor Ramsey. She had a shuttle mix-up. Taylor's my Aunt Ruth. She's the one who actually runs this place. I do, and don't you forget it. Aging in the barrel. Taking her up to the cottage. Last room in the inn. Well, she can't sleep in that. Here you go, dear. Your room's got plenty of outlets. Good night, Ruth. Okay, so I'm loving all of this, but I feel like these are multiple scenes here, which is great because I'm missing a chapter 4. So I think chapter 4 should stop right where she doesn't have a room. I know. We're taking on water. All right, come on. Okay, so we need something about here. I think this is where we cut it off, right here. Hopefully that's enough. And then I'll come here, new document, chapter 4, and this is Gemini. See how many words we've got here. 11,112 words. Okay. All right, I might have to grab a little bit more. I know. Bride Squad. Okay, maybe we do it here. So we'll add this little bit on. I don't have a reservation for Ramsey. I know. See if that gives me, yeah, that gives me 1,500 words. That's good. Okay. So now I need the real chapter 5. New document. Chapter 5. We're also using Gemini for this because I like the Gemini. I'll look and see because I've got to flush it out some more. I stared at him. So we're going to start from here. And then we have Aunt Ruth. And we'll throw this in here. And we got 1351. I'm sure Claude was super, super, super wordy on that part. Beau's Cottage. Just take the room. I like this. Okay, let's see where my chapter 5 ends with them walking. Okay. Okay, so right here, I think is where I can put that little bit from the Claude that I liked. Claude, chapter 5, where they're actually walking. Folks, there's nowhere in 30 minutes. Okay, you can and you will. Nonsense. Okay. Outside the storm. Ooh. Mash bill notes. Okay, so yeah, I like this bit here. So we'll come over here. And there we go. Now we've got this up to 1671. Fire was crackling. Guest rooms this way. Get some sleep, Bride Squad. They were huge on me. Okay, so she's not getting married tomorrow. I needed to be at. I needed to run, and I was 60 miles away wearing a stranger's pajamas in a stranger's bed. I was just Taylor. All right, so we're good there. 1676, and chapter 4 is 1502. So we will go ahead and add those, and we are right at 1201. I am happy about this. 1201, chapter 4 and 5 solidified. That is Hot Drive, 1502, and 1676. Share this tab instead. Okay, so total words edited altogether is 5767 plus 1502 plus 1676, 8,945. Now I'm going to have to do another run on this where I'm not, but this is where the speed comes from. So I am not going to keep editing. Go back to the chat here. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't scrolling. I hate cutting. Yeah. Chapters, but sometimes you just have to. The screen is not scrolling to where you are editing. Thank you. Okay, but here's the deal. Okay, I'm sorry about this one. This live was not as, I had the issue in the middle there, but this is what I was looking for. I was looking for like in about an hour and a half, because that's when we started, it was 10:30. I have gone through 5 chapters. If I do that, if I go with 90 minutes divided by 5, that's 18 minutes per chapter. I always aim for about 10 to 20 minutes per chapter. And this one was particularly interesting because I got trapped in the quicksand of trying to find the best there. And I had to deviate from that, which is when I didn't share there in the middle. But you guys hopefully can see how I have the raw materials of multiple chapters, and it helps me to kind of like stitch it together faster. The hardest skill in this is just stitch it. Don't worry about if it was the best option. If you want to make it the best option, you can, but you'll drive yourself nuts. This is almost like you have to be like the ruthless director, and you have to just like, this fits my vision. I'm happy with this. Now, when I was using Gemini on that last chapter, I scanned it. I could tell that there was a piecing issue there where it jumped from Aunt Ruth to them being at the stone cottage. I knew Claude would have definitely stretched that out. And so I scanned that dialogue and I was like, yep, that's good. I'll chunk it in. Once I go to do a line edit and I'm reading everything very closely, that's when it'll like stick out to me if something doesn't quite fit, and I'll fix it there. That's the more final edit. So my plan is get the rough edit done. And listen, 5 chapters in 2 hours. I'm pretty happy about that. Tonight's live at 8 o'clock. We'll be editing some more, and I'll be trying to get to chapter 10. And then chapters 15 and 20 on Saturday. And that would mean Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we wrote an entire 50,000 word novel and got it into a rough edit in 3 days, which that's insane. That's exciting. And I don't even necessarily have to do the line edit, because I can like pass that off to an editor for the press who can go in and do all that. But yeah, Moonchild says, isn't that the problem for most writers? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, everyone. I am not going to push because I stayed yesterday for an extra hour and it drained me. So I'm going to say farewell. I'm going to leave you with that bourbon song again because I think it's so much fun. And for those who missed it at the top, and I will hopefully see a lot of you at the 8 o'clock hour when Ikela won't be here, but we'll be doing more editing and all of that. But I love Plot Drive. We did some really great stuff this session. We put all the manuscripts in there. I have to say, the report so far is right. Ion stuck to it. Google's got a good bit, and then Claude just made everything more flowery. So by having that report to go from, I'm able to just quickly go grab the raw material that I need to creatively direct this book. So here is that song, and I'll see you guys at 8 o'clock.
Cicadas singing low, fireflies tracing silver on the night. I was a shadow in my own glow, till your whiskey eyes found mine in candlelight. You said stay a while, let the thunder roll, and something steady settled in my soul. Pour out the dark, let the sweetheart stare. Breathe in the storm and the old smoke dare. Some love drifts upward like a prayer, but what lingers between us is the angel's share. Brush them gentle like a summer breeze. In your quiet laugh I learned to reside. Found a home beyond apologies. Let the bright lit world keep its polished shine. I'll trade it all for this hush that's ours tonight. Dark, let the sweetheart stare. Breathe in the storm and the oak smoke dare. Some love drifts upward like a prayer, but what lingers between us is the angel's share.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I'll see you at 8 o'clock. And don't forget, you can, if you liked what you saw with your first draft, the notes has the link that you can buy the boot camp if you are not a member of the accelerator or the mastermind, and you'll have access to your first draft August 15th. Those of you in the mastermind and the accelerator, I'll be seeing you guys in class next week. And we also have a few spots left in Emmett's, oh my gosh, in Bad Evans Summit. That's what happens when you put Summit and Evan together, you get Emmett. But Bad Evans Publishing Summit has, I believe, 20 some spots left or so, roughly. So we did sell a couple last night. But so, and I believe the boot camp is, it was up to 20 this morning when I woke up. So there's 80 spots left in that one. That one has 100 spots. The Publishing Summit only has 50. We also have some great standalone classes if that's the level where you're at. And please make sure you use the coupon code YourFirstDraft so that you can go ahead and get 50% off of the single classes until August 3rd, or you can get 40% off of the bundle. Take care. Happy sequencing, and I'll see you guys tonight. Bye.